What's going there on, everybody? We here for another episode of Who's the Deadbeat. Your host Rob and my lovely wife, the most hated stepmom,
Definitely. Um,
Shima.
Mrs. Rob.
Mrs.
Yeah.
Rob.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Don't give them
I like that better. But
that
uh,
information.
but for those that don't know, we've been promoting this show for a minute now, and it's pretty much we're giving everybody a chance to tell their story. Um, and the minute we finna post the link in the caption so y'all can click it if you want to tell your story. But we pretty much just touching on you know, the raw and uncut of what goes on behind parental alienation, and we just giving everybody a chance to just tell their story.
Yeah. I mean, it's out in the back. This is real. It's giving ghetto, but whatever. This is real life. Yeah. So just to piggyback off of what he said, um, this is pretty. I just lost my train of thought. For lack of a better word, it's very serious. It's something that we take very serious. Our following, our community, they reach out to us all the time asking, can they share their story? And I think that a lot of people, are gaining courage to be able to do that. And so we just wanted to provide them with a safe space where they can. And so that's what this is all about. Um, as we roll this out, we still like working out certain kinks, so be patient with us. But yeah, we just excited. We ready to get this going and hear what you guys have to say. Not being attorneys or a law firm or anything like that, where we can actually provide legal advice because we can't do that. We just still want to give you the opportunity to tell your story so that if anybody out there is watching can do that and can provide with certain resources, then you have, that option. So that's what we're trying to do for the people that are experiencing parental alienation, something that, is very near and dear to our hearts because we had to go through that and fight for my husband's two children, a long 5-year custody battle that we ended up, being granted primary custody of the kids. And so, yeah, we pretty much know what we talk about here. So anybody want to challenge that, let's do
Let's do it.
it. Let's do it.
But yeah, so our whole goal is to everybody tell their story, and we're gonna see who lying, man, because when you start talking too much, man, you start looking through them loopholes. But nah, we pretty much just want to give everybody a chance to tell their story, and we're gonna come with a series of questions. Um and for you to get your point across and for you to get your story across. So if anybody want to step up tonight, that's fine. We just kind of just introducing the what we trying to do and what it's finna be about, and we finna get going. But for the people that are watching, can you tell me if you can click this link that's in the chat?
Yeah, let us know if it's clickable. If not,
Yeah.
copy paste, do whatever you got to do until we figure this thing out.
And also we have some disclaimers too. You can't mention the other party's name. Uh, we not liable for
Any litigations, any current legal proceedings that you guys may be involved with, that's completely on you. So be cautious and careful of what you say and how you speak.
appreciate that chance. Appreciate that.
And yeah, just know that when you're talking to us, I know it's raw and it's uncut and it's very it can get heated and emotional. But at the end of the day, this is still a public platform. So, just be mindful of that. These things can go viral. You may not want, people to view you a certain way. So just keep that in mind, keep it respectful. Um, But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can't control what you say and how you say it, but at the end of the day, we don't want our lives flagged either for ignorance and stuff. So
Yeah, we don't want you to get embarrassed out here either. But yeah, so that's pretty much what this is about. So if anybody want to come up and tell their story, they can. This is what we doing. We raising awareness about parental alienation, and we giving everybody the opportunity to tell their story with the serial questions that we designed. And it's not only for fathers, it's for kids that's been alienated. It's for stepmoms. If y'all seen the video that we just posted, for stepmoms that's been part of parental alienation, grandmothers, et cetera, et cetera. Even though the mothers that's being accused of being bitter and alienating their kids. Our goal is to get down to the bottom of what's going on in this world and why it is happening. So
and even the alienators, like we want y'all to like come up and give your reasoning as to why you feel the need to keep your kid away from their other parent or whomever. Because I mean, we still want to hear from you, even though we don't agree with what you're doing. You may have your own valid reason, and so we want to know behind what's happening behind the scenes, like what's causing any kid to be separated from their parent, right? Some people think that they have logical reasoning for these things, and so we're just here to try to find out the why and yeah, determine really all in all if you a deadbeat or not, because deadbeats are not just men. Women can be deadbeats too. It's not just parents. It can be grandparents, aunties, cousins, uncles, family members, friends, whomever have that authority or guardianship over a child that is keeping them from somebody that they love, especially their other parent. And so that's really where we're at with it. And so
and a lot of people don't even know what parental alienation is. I mean, the followers we have on here. I mean, typo a one if you ever heard of the term parental alienation, if you know what it is. I just want to know, because but if you don't know, parental alienation is when a parent, uh, of course, withhold the kid from another parent, and also psychologically damage them to dislike the other parent, to mess with the parent-child relationship. So a lot of people just think that it's stuff that's on the surface, and this is where a lot of stuff go wrong with parental alienation. This is why we do what we do, because society always just think that it's just something that you can see. It's Parental alien is nothing that you can just see on the surface. If it was that simple, then it wouldn't be a thing. It's all the things that people don't see is what makes parental alienation so tough. Like bad mouthing the parent in front of the child, and just changing the child whole perception of the other parent. So this is what it's about. Um, we can get a little ratchet. So we gonna be ourselves on here, and we gonna keep it real, and we gonna tell the truth, because that's all we know to do. And if anybody want to come up and just tell their story, they can. This
yeah, let me say this, not to cut you off, babe, but the first couple of like the first rollout weeks, we've been scheduling people to come. We had somebody that wanted to come up tonight, but they reneged due to their privacy and their concerns about
showing their
showing their
face.
face. So I just want to be clear. I don't. I It's no judgment here, but typically, the way this goes is if you want to share your story, and now you may just want somebody to vent to or hear you out, right? But this is something different. Like if you're really trying to get some sort of response or some real like help, you wouldn't mind showing your face. I don't know the person's situation. We're here to hear that and to see if we can possibly help, even if it's just lending an ear or whatever. But it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like this is a safe space. This is the community. Now you may be worried about everybody else and what other people may think, but we've been there. We've done it. We had to be private to a certain extent when we were fighting for the kids and things like that. But at some point, you know, it's not about you. Like, it's about the kid. It's about the real reason you're fighting. And being shy is just another hindrance, in my opinion. But, again, everybody is not, open to being on live and on in front of the camera. People get nervous. It's I get it. We get it. But just understand it's no way you can pretty much move forward if that's a problem for you. Not, in this type of setting. So that's why, we require everybody to show their face and tell their story that way, if it makes sense. To put anybody in an uncomfortable position.
Okay,
Hello,
what we got here? What's going on?
Hey, Chance.
I'm the guy that reneged.
I know. That's why I just said your name. Like, hey, how are you? It, in me, in saying this and you coming on just proved how serious this is and how in just that short second of me explaining what is required, you changed your mind and you said, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And so that just kudos to you for that, because I didn't sound harsh, that I wasn't trying to come for
Yeah,
you,
you
but
sound harsh.
well, just think of it as tough love. I just want to be clear for the next people, because your story is your story, but you got to understand this. This is a safe space. We're like a family, a community. So trust and believe whatever you say is going to help somebody else. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
if they are listening, when they see this and they watch it and they feel the way that you did, that may give them the same courage. So I just want to give you, acknowledgement for doing that. You like, I'm the guy that reneges. But thank you for coming on. So, what made you change your mind just before we get started?
I don't know. I just have I don't do live stuff. Like I hardly even do internet things. Like I don't do much of anything. But I've been through some pain before. That's how I came across you guys as um it was reels and it was on Facebook. You know how you pick a video on Facebook and then you just keep scrolling up and then y'all came up. So then that's when I tapped the Instagram to see what other stories y'all have, because you always see stuff like this. But it was one in particular I can't remember that it didn't resonate, but I understood. And when you said that, I was like, well, I already done chatted on the chat on YouTube. So I'm like, my name is already up there. So I'm like, well, I
Pretty
might as
much.
well just right. And then it has my face on there. So I was like, I might as well just show my face anyway. So and
Okay.
then
All
right as I was doing it, that's when he was like, we had a person up here and he started to renege. And then I was like, well,
right.
yeah, now
Well,
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm the person that reneged.
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
All
I
right.
again, that's strong for you to do
Yeah.
that in that moment. But before we get started, you ready to do this? Cause ain't no turning back
Um,
now. Like you
no, it ain't
up
no,
now. So
it ain't backing down now. Whatever it is what it is. But it's just um I just know I know what I've done and I know what I'm doing. And it's
okay,
and it's people out here that's saying that I'm not doing it
okay,
and that I haven't done it. And it's not about me trying to get my point across. It's just that I feel like I'm never heard. And
All
it
right.
and it,
So
it frustrates me because I still go through it to this day, and it just and I don't know. I that's when I hit you guys up and I messaged immediately like, "Hey, look, how can I get my story on?" But then I start asking myself questions like, "Do you really want to do that? You're gonna be on camera. This might go viral, And I'm not
yeah.
the type of guy to put my face on the internet or anything like that. Um, so I just
we
decided to just
appreciate
do
you.
it. So and
We
I like the
appreciate you,
vibe of
man.
the Oh, thank you. And then I like the vibe of which I was how y'all was coming at people when they felt like they was lying. Oh, I remember the one now. It was the one where the video of the girl who was saying that she was abused, and then y'all like start calling her out on it because she was holding the child away from her father, but the father wasn't abusing her. And then y'all was calling her out on it, and then she kept on screaming, and then the more that she screamed, I just saw how calm y'all looked, and then it was like she was out of pocket, and then she just kept getting higher and higher, and I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, I like
Yeah,
the vibe. So
we ain't for none. Like,
yeah.
we've been doing this a long time, and a lot of people don't know. Like, we're not just on here for likes, clicks, views. It's not that. Like, this is
Mm-mm.
our lives. Like, we're had to fight, fight
right,
in court, but fight in real life. If anybody ever has been through parental alienation, they know how
Hell,
devastating it
we
is, right?
still fighting.
Yeah.
right, I
So
understand.
we take it very seriously, but okay.
All right, let's get
Let's do
into it.
it.
Okay.
Sorry. So, what's your name?
My name is Chance King. Um,
Okay. Where you
I'm from
from?
the Midwest,
The
St. Louis.
Midwest.
Yeah,
Okay. We got St. Louis in the house. Okay. How many kids do you have?
I have three.
And how many is being alienated?
Well,
Oh,
no, I'm the one being alienated. Yes, like
oh, so
yes.
yeah, so you alienated. You don't get to see your kids at all.
Well, one I have an oldest daughter. She just turned. She's gonna be 18 November. Then my son just turned 16 on my birthday, and then I just had a little one last year in January.
How many different women?
Three.
Okay,
One,
so three
the
different.
oldest one, yeah, because when I was young, I only had a promise to have kids with one person, but that didn't work out because when the person I
Shit,
did have
we
it,
all we
yeah,
all was like that.
yeah, because I mean I come from a broken household as well, so I didn't want that. But the first when I had my first child, uh I did everything I could, like everything, like I was in high school. I dropped out of high school. I worked two jobs. I was working two fast food jobs across town. And then just one day she just up and left.
So it was like
And
a high school sweetheart type
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
How
And
long were
she's
y'all together?
well, I met her I met her freshman year, but we didn't date till because she had a boyfriend when I was a freshman, and I didn't date her till sophomore year. And then we was together to junior year, and that's when I dropped out. And then we found out she was pregnant, and then that's when I was working. And I was working
And
two
this was
jobs.
still during high school. So y'all had a
Yeah,
baby during high school. Okay.
yeah, and she was still going to high school, but like with me and my situation, like it was gonna either be I was gonna drop out anyway if I didn't have a kid because I mean we was in a financial state of money and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But um, when that happened, they was well I worked two jobs, did everything I could, and then she up and left me for somebody at work that she
Now,
worked
baby
for.
mama number two, 2 years later. What was that
Yeah,
about?
Hold on, so real
that
quick, is that kid being alienated from the
Oh, that
first?
kid was yeah, that kid was alienated all the way on up to her teens.
Okay,
I just now got a relationship with her.
okay. Now
Like
you could go to the second one. I don't want to get too far ahead.
no, it's fine. No, it's fine. The second one happened like it was just like a fling, and then that happened, and then me thinking that it was okay. Maybe this is the time that maybe it is for a kid because maybe God sent them because I didn't get to see my first one,
Hmm.
and um I tried with that one. That one didn't work, but that one lived with me. Like I worked two jobs with that one too. Got my own place, did everything, and to be both of these women put me on child support right when the baby was born, and I didn't know this. Me being young at the time, because I had my first one at 19, and then not long after, like I think in my 20s, um, I had this my boy, and they both put me on child support. Me not knowing this because they was talking about assistance or something like that. And I didn't know anything about it, but me, I mean, I got up and worked because I mean that's what I'm supposed to
So
do.
you saying like they wanted government assistance, and due to have that, they probably pushed to have you put on child support because
Yeah,
sometimes that happens with moms when they want like assistance from the government, they will make them put the fathers on child support to get some
He,
of that money back.
yes, and I didn't know any of this. I didn't know any of this until like my kids was already teenagers, like well halfway to it, because I couldn't understand why.
Wow.
Because I was so beat up. I was so beat up about the first one because when she left me, she married somebody else when she left me, and I didn't know this. Like it was just cold turkey for the first one, and I didn't know what happened. I didn't know what I did. I just know once she just stopped picking up the phone for me, and it was like that for years, and I didn't understand why. And with the second one there, like I said, it was just, we was just talking and everything, and then it was a sexual thing, and then she ended up getting pregnant, and then that's when I was like, all right, cool, then I'm gonna step up to this one. But then I said something when he was born, I said something harsh, which I shouldn't have said, and I told because I was so messed up about the first one. I said, look, I don't think I should be here for the second one because I don't even know how to be a father yet, and I don't even like know my first kid yet. Me
Mhm.
saying that was like
Taken away from the birth of your second kid.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and that hurt me, and that's when I was like, no, I decided to right then and then like just be in his life forever. Like it ain't gonna be nobody to tell me what I can't do and can't do, not even her. And that's what
Mhm.
it is. That's what it was. Like he grew up with me. I did whatever for him. I mean, I got my first apartment with them. I mean, I was
Okay.
like really on a roll. But it was like some instances where I was so in search for this love that people around me was telling me, hey, look, maybe you should be in your kid's life, or don't be with her. Me trying to find this love and be this family and everything, I ignored all the everything, like red flags, everything that they was telling me. And sometimes you need that person that's looking from the outside to tell you, and then if you want to, you look at what they talking about. Me, I was
Hmm.
blind to the fact. Like I wouldn't even care. Like, cause I'm like, look, they was just hating on me, like all this and that. Like, I mean, like from my mom to my brother, all that they telling me, like, look, just take care of the kid. You don't have to be with her. And that wasn't working. But then like stuff started just popping up out of nowhere. Like I'm just like, she didn't have a job. I'm like, how are you getting a car and you got no job? How do you have a car? Because she was telling me that she wasn't getting child support, but my paycheck stubs, child support is automatically getting taken out of it.
Yeah,
Mm.
but
Um,
when there's government assistance involved, it's not, they don't get, they get something, but they don't get like it would be if they weren't receiving government assistance. And even that child support dynamic is, it's a business, so the state still takes a portion of that money,
yeah,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
think the first baby mother
gets the most or
get them,
something like
yeah,
that.
get more than
yeah,
the
and
second.
that's what was happening. Like it was my paycheck stuff was telling me that child support was coming out for her and for the second one. And I just couldn't understand it because I'm like, okay, well, I don't get to see my daughter. Why is that happening? So I remember I ended up complaining about that to the courts, and they just wasn't caring because they was asking me, well, do you see my daughter? Do you see your daughter? And I was like, no, I haven't seen her yet. And they just was like not caring. So I was just like, okay, well, whatever, that's gotta happen.
Were
So
you going to court to try to modify the child support? Was it
well,
that
they
type of
was
court?
they would send me the manila envelopes asking me if I want to um modify it.
Because if she was receiving child support, why? I know you were young, so I'm just trying to figure out the first
That's
baby
fine.
mother. Why didn't you try to seek like your visitation, your rights? Because she's getting child support, so right
Right,
there it's already substantiated that you have rights to this child. Why didn't you pursue that?
right. Well, what is the thing called, a caseworker? I think I was assigned a caseworker or something like that.
Okay.
And I asked her, what can I do to get off child support and everything? And she flat out just told me, you have to pay it all. That's it.
Yeah,
But
'cause those
yeah,
people is never really for
yeah,
the
that's not
father.
yeah.
Yeah, and
And you got to understand too, child support court and uh
Family
family
court
court is
is two
two totally
different
different
things.
things.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this, knew nothing of this at all. And I fell into, I remember it was just like one point after that, I just fell into a state of depression. Like bad depression to the
So
point
this
to
is
where I
with
was.
having both kids.
Yeah, this is what happened with both kids,
And you said you
and
got a third kid too, right?
yes,
Or is that with either one of those women
no,
or
no, no.
Three
It's
different
it's
baby
another
mamas.
woman. Yes,
okay?
and um, the third woman is like, you know how they say third time is the third time's the charm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But with the first two, yeah, that's
So the
how that
third
happened.
time was your charm.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and I'm
So
still
you
with
broke
her.
up with the second baby mama because, of course, you.
No,
It,
the second baby mama
So
left
she
me.
ran. Yeah, she
The
left you
second,
too.
yeah,
this so both of them left the first and second.
yeah,
All right. So just
yeah,
to do a recap, the first baby mama, she just ran off, got married. You never seen your kid, so you got
yeah,
alienated from that kid.
yeah,
The second baby mama, she was playing games behind your back. You was ignoring the red flags, and she eventually leaving you. But did she play games with your kids too as well?
yeah, yeah. Because with that one is because he's a boy and he looks just like me. We have the same
Mm.
birthday, everything. Like he looked just like me.
Wow.
And and I just got off the phone with him too. But he knows how I am. Like the back of his hand. Like he knows how I am. Like
How old was he when she left
he
the
was
second
like,
baby?
yeah, he was like 7 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I raised him. But the thing about it is, even when I fell into a depression trying to figure out what to do about all this stuff, it was like she sat next to me and it was like she was plotting what to do next. Instead of just being like, hey, look, let's get up and get this going, let's get up and get that going. She stayed with me like that
Okay.
time too.
So did pretty much she left when he was 7 or 8 and tried to alienate him, but it didn't work like the
Yeah,
first
it didn't
kid
work.
because you had raised him up to 7 and 8,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. She tried, like, even to this day, she be trying to lie to him and things like that about me, and he just be looking at her, or now it's to the point to where he older and be like, "Mama, look, I know my dad ain't like that."
How old is he now?
He's 16 now.
And it's still happening.
Yeah, it's still
So
happening. Like,
okay,
like,
let's move forward and then we'll kind of like backtrack. So the next kid you got with another woman, and this was different than the first two women.
yeah, yeah. This one, like, the third person came in, like, I say, like, she left like a few months, and that's when I met her. I met her through my brother's. I don't want to say baby mama, but his mother's. Um,
His kid's mother.
yeah, they used to work together, and I went to my brother's girlfriend's birthday party, and she was there. Now it wasn't even intentions of even being with her or anything because I was too busy working at the time. I was working at a warehouse job and I was working a security job. So I wasn't really trying to figure out who to be with next or anything like that. And that's how like bad that the first two messed me up because I didn't know, like when we got together, I didn't know what I had until I messed up. And I ended up messing up because it was to the point where I didn't trust women anymore, and I didn't trust. So I ended up messing up myself, like, which was a big lesson I learned. Like me asking, and I don't want to bring God into it so much. And I'm not saying I'm a big believer, but I mean, I do pray from time to time. And then it was at a point to where I was like, hey, look, God, I do want this. I do want a family. I do want to, buy a house one day and have this family.
So
And
what happened with you guys? Like you were together and you were struggling, right, in the
yeah,
relationship. And so who ended that relationship? Was it her because you messed up, or did you walk away, or how did that play out with
with
you
this
guys?
one,
The
with
third
this
one, yeah.
one, yeah, with the third one, no, I'm still with her
You
now.
still with her? Okay,
Yes,
okay,
and I'm the one who messed up by cheating on her because
okay.
me
Okay.
thinking like, hey, this ain't gonna last because the other ones didn't last, and I messed that up by doing that. And then when we talked and everything, we were separated for a year, and then she came back to me because I had started school and everything, and then I was working, but I was hurt because I was like, look. I felt it afterwards that she was the one. I was like, man, I messed that up. She was the one. I messed it up because of my insecurities and
Well, I mean, stuff happens. But she came
Yeah.
back to you and did. So did you guys have a kid before or
No,
after?
no, no. We had it. We had it after. We had
After
it
the
after.
after you got
Yeah.
back together.
So
So
how,
how
Yeah.
old is that baby?
This baby is one.
Okay, so this is a
okay,
new
it's
baby.
a new
Okay,
baby.
new
Yeah.
baby.
Okay, so let's backtrack
Okay.
to the first baby mama. So what
Okay.
was some of the things that you did to try to fight to try to get to your kid over the years?
With the first baby mama, it
Yes.
was that with the casework and everything else, and then with the moderators, like I wrote letters to the moderators. I mean, to the people who wanted. Well, I don't know what you call them here, but I wrote letters and I still haven't got anything back. And every time, like I would get court cases, I would go up to them and tell them like, hey, look, I haven't seen this baby, I haven't seen her this amount of time, and then it was just brushed off. Like it was to a point to where I was finally I was working I was working fast food jobs. I was working
Mhm.
two of them. And I decided, like, hey, look, I need something more than a fast food job because here we got paid minimum wage. Now I was looking for something like in the teens before it was like eight something to like maybe nine something an hour here for minimum wage. But I wanted to do something else other than fast food. So I when I got the warehouse job, I had got my license in forklifting to do that. But once they found out I was making more money, I had got a court date. And when I went to that court date and when I told them, hey, look, I haven't seen this woman or anything, I don't know what to do about it. She didn't have an answer for me. But she was like, well, you make enough money now at the warehouse to pay more child support. At first, it was like a hundred something. And then all of a sudden, she writes on this paper that I have to take with me $500 and was like,
Yeah,
you can
Yeah.
pay that.
So
they don't care about.
Yeah, and I just told her, "Hey, look, I can't pay that," and she just didn't care what I was talking about. And then that's when that happened. So that's when I knew I couldn't do it. Like I'm trying, but I couldn't. And like I said, with my depression, and everything, like I couldn't find a job for a
So do
while
you think she
because
called dude? So do you think she was she calling you a deadbeat or like
oh yeah, she was calling me a deadbeat. Yes, but it when I got to really like talk to my daughter like without her mom, and she
and
started
that
asking
was
me
years and years
questions.
later, right?
Oh
How long
yeah,
did you go
yeah.
without talking to her? Like, what was the longest period without
Oh,
talking to her?
from when she was 1 years old to up to 17.
So tell us, how did that happen? Did she reach out and find you, or how did? Because when people hear your story, the first thing they're gonna say is that you didn't fight, you didn't try
Oh
harder,
no,
you didn't do
she
anything
had my
about.
the mother had my number wherever I went. If I had a new number, the mother had my number.
Hmm.
That was the thing. Like I'm like, look, I'm not
No,
too
I'm
far.
talking about your efforts, because with this, a lot of people always feel that we feel men should never have to fight. Why does a man have to fight to be in their kid's life? But
Oh,
if someone hears, that your kid's mother took your kid and fled, or is withholding a child, why aren't you doing everything you possibly can to, find your kid and do this? Why would you wait 17 years? So, some people will say that they think you're
right,
probably a deadbeat, right?
right.
So that's what I'm saying to that. And I understand you were young. I know it was some things in place that you probably just didn't know what to do. But how did that come about after 17 years that you guys reconnected? Who made that happen? How did that?
Oh, well, like I said, she the one with the court dates. That's all I can do with the court dates. Anything else, they was like I had to get a lawyer and everything, and they were so expensive. Like, I mean, like too expensive. I didn't even make enough money to even hire a lawyer because they was talking about 3,000 and things out the gate, and I'm like, I don't have that, and I'm like, I don't even have a good enough job to even make that because when I make the money, when I get my checks, they take that out. It's gonna take too long to get to $3,000.
so
So it was.
that's with the first kid. So what happened with the second kid then?
Oh, with the second kid, there like it wasn't. I was already established in this life. Like
Okay,
I
so it was
fought with
probably a
everything.
different form of parental
Yeah,
alienation, right? Because you said earlier that she be telling him bad
Bad
things
things
about
about you.
you.
yeah.
And so what were some of those bad things that you heard about that
Oh,
she said about you?
well, she said Wow, what do I even begin with that? She's told him that I've abused her, I've hit her with a pot before, and my son ain't never seen me put my hands on her. Like I've been through so much with the second one, and like for an example, I have a story for an example. So one time he was and he was 14, I think 13 or 14. He was failing bad in school to the point to where he was almost getting ready to he was gonna have to repeat the grade again. I think this was like sixth grade or something. I don't know. I can't remember the grade. But all I know is I remember is that she called me and told me that he was failing. And then I was already mad because I'm like, what are you failing for? I'm like, what's going on? And it was like, I don't know, man, you know how the teenage boys get, you got like a little chip on the shoulder or whatever. So I had to go like really like talk to him, be like, hey, look, nah, over the summer, you're gonna go to summer school, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna take you to summer school and I'm gonna pick you up from summer school. I'm gonna make sure you put this work in. You're gonna have to do this work, you're gonna get it in. Long story short, I did it. He ended up making it to the next grade. But it was one time I went to my brother's house. My brother stays like far out, maybe 45 to an hour out, and I had him with me or whatever. And mind you, he's been with me at my apartment. He's been with me the whole summer. I've been picking him up, dropping him off at summer school the entire summer. Like he hasn't been at his mom's house since. So she calls me and is like, "Hey, look, I need to bring him home so I can clean his room." And I was like, I'm away right now. I can't do that right now. I'm an hour out. I'm like, I'm not gonna bring him home to uh to clean his room." And I was like, he ain't even been there all summer. I'm like, he ain't cleaned his room before he left. She said no, and I was like, well, okay, well, I just when this time is over with, I'll bring him home. I'm like, don't worry about it. It was a whole problem. And I was just like, hey, look, we argued and everything. I'm like, I'm not gonna argue with you over this. I'm like, I'm not gonna bring him all the way home just to clean his room. I'm like, when this is over, I'll bring him home.
That's control.
Yes. So the next day, um, I get home and I drops him off. The next day I drops him off at summer school. When I go to pick him up, he gets in the car. Before I get to pull off, a cop car pulls up. Like, I mean, pulls up, gun on the holster, everything, telling me to cut the engine off and for the boy to get out of the car. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what happened? What's going on? I look in the rearview mirror. She's behind me in the rearview mirror. And he had to get out of the car. She took me off the pickup list to pick him up over
Mm.
this situation. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, really? Because I had ended up talking to her about it, and she told me, she was like, well, you should have brought him home. And I'm like, what are you all over that?
So you don't have an order with neither
No,
one that
we don't have no order to for anything. Now she has a restraining order on me now. Now, like I've been dealing with like the restraining order for like some years now. Like she keep renewing it and keep renewing it. She done convinced these people that I abuse her. Like done convinced them to the point to where like I can't go to his football games and he mad because like he can't go to he wanted me to go to I'm like hey I can't go to your football games. I can't be within 50
So
feet of
how
your
are you
mom.
guys talking? Because the order should restrain you from that as well, right? If it's
No,
willful possession.
I don't talk to the mom at all. I just talk to my son. He calls
So
me.
yeah.
He
so
has
why
his own
can't you
phone.
see him?
Oh, I don't know why. That's what she says that I'm
Is
an
he on the
abuser.
order? Is he on her order too as well?
No,
Well,
no.
you can see him.
That's what I'm saying. But when I go around, it's always a problem. So I have my mom go pick him up.
Oh,
My
so you
mom,
are still intervening where you still
yeah,
have contact with him.
yeah. But when
You just
she,
yeah.
but when she has an attitude, or when it's something that she wants to like do, like me and him had the same birthday. When my birthday just passed this year, it was the first time I spent my birthday with him in a long time. I haven't spent my birthday with him since he was like 8. And every time I do want to do something with him, it's something that he got to do, or and every time she say that now, I just be like, you know what, all right, go. Because if I be like, look, yeah, you stay with me, I just bring him home tomorrow. It's a problem. Or she's showing up at my house, and I have to call the cops. There's been plenty of times where she show up at my house where I call the cops
So
first, and she'll be pulling in with cops.
so let me ask you this. Why do you think she's keeping them away? Like both of your baby mamas. Why do you think they? What you think their issue is? Why they one kept them
I
away and then the other
to,
one is playing games?
to be honest, I don't know. With the second one, I think it was the fact of that my family with the first one, like I said, with the first one, I don't know. I did everything. I was like head over heels for her. Like I did everything. Like my mom did everything. Like the baby didn't have to worry about nothing. Closet was stacked full of clothes, diapers, everything. I mean, I put all my money towards that. Like I mean, really, I would take a bus from one area to a whole nother area across town. Like my all
So
my
what did
days.
your daughter say? Like, has she expressed why she think her mom kept her away, or have you guys even got to that
No,
point?
and that's a touchy situation with that one too, because me and my daughter, I have to tell my daughter, like, hey, if you ask me any question, I'm not gonna lie to you about anything. I'm like, but it's up to you on how you gonna, reciprocate that. Because I'm like, look, your mom left me, and then I'm like, your mom had another guy tell her that I couldn't see you, and then she was like, yeah, mama told me that. And then I was like, well, there you go, right there. That should say a lot to you. But I'm like, I'm not the one you should be mad at, because I'm like, I was never far away from you.
But why didn't you fight hard enough?
I didn't know what else to do other than the courts. I like that's all I knew. Like when I got to child support court, I would tell them, they would tell me, hey, look, you need to get this lawyer. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But then when I try to get the lawyer, yeah, look, I have to eat, I have to, like, at the time I was trying to get a car, at the time I was trying to get an apartment. When I did get my apartment, I didn't have money. Like, even with two jobs, I didn't have money to save up for a lawyer at all. Like, it was just like, all right, cool. You paying the child support, that's fine. She getting the child support, let it be. But it was to a point to where I got real depressed off that. Like even my own family don't even know how. Like,
The
and I
fact
hate
of
to,
being separated from your baby, right? You
yeah.
saying is what caused your depression.
That no, the fact of me, like, I thought I was doing a good job. I thought I was
And
doing a
what
good
happened?
job. Yeah, I thought I was doing a good job being a good boyfriend. I thought I was being a good job, you know, because when we had the baby, it ain't like when my first um with my baby mom, it was no, I can't do this. When we found out she was pregnant, I was like, look, I'm here all the way. Whatever you need, I'm here all the way.
And you guys were young, so I could
Yeah,
see that being, taking a toll on you, especially being so young and then trying to step up and do the right thing and then getting a slap in the face for her taking the baby and running. But
yeah.
once people hear your story, what would you have to say to the people that will say that you're making excuses?
I couldn't be making excuses because none of this is an excuse. Like I'm only human, but I only did what I could. Like I can understand if I had the child support courts coming up and then I had to go and I wasn't going. No, I've never not been to one. Every time they send me paperwork, like I'm going, and then I tell them like, hey, look, I'm paying this.
So
I
to
haven't
your
seen.
so basically to your daughter, she's angry, right? She
Yeah,
she feels that you let her down, like you didn't do
no,
much. How
no,
does
she
she feel?
doesn't.
Like what is
She
she expressing?
she's trying to connect with me too, but she don't know how to connect because she doesn't know me like that. And
Well,
then
she's an alienated child, and so
right,
again, those words are interchangeable. So when we
right,
say alienated child, the father, the other parent, whoever they are being alienated from, is alienated as well. So it's not
yeah,
saying that you're not alienated, because I know
right,
earlier you were like, "I'm the one that's been alienated." No, your child was being alienated, and you were being alienated,
Yeah,
yeah,
and so that's from two
and
sides of the spectrum.
and your other kids.
right, right, and that's what it is. Cause when she come around, she's a goth girl. Like, cause she's mixed, so she's like with the goth stuff. I listen to a lot of rock music and all that stuff too. So that's like our
So
like.
what ethnicity is her mom?
Her mom is white and Italian.
Okay.
Yeah,
So she's okay. So she's into some other things that
yeah,
you.
So let
yeah.
me ask you one quick question, because I mean, it's kind of funny that she just up and left like that, right?
I said the same thing.
So, have you ever got a DNA test?
No, because I knew me and her that I knew that for a fact me and her was the only ones with each other. Everything changed after the baby. That's
For
what
a
everything
fact.
changed. For a fact, everything changed after the baby. Because I know for because me and her went to school together, and me and her, we had classes. She helped me with my homework. I basically in high school when I didn't have nowhere to go, I would go to her house, and I don't really want to say this, but my brother has a baby by our auntie. So
Okay.
I lived with him and her for a long time. She was the one who introduced me to our auntie. So when in high school, before my brother even talked to her, we would go to her house. We would sneak over to her house and everything else. Or um, weekend summers, we would try to go to her auntie house so we can get away from her mom because her
So
mom
you
was the only one
just
that had a car.
for sure that you're
Oh,
the
I know for
biological
sure
father.
that yeah, I know for sure that my daughter is mine. Like for a fact, 100% I know. The one that came after, no, that was
But
the
you
one.
said he's your twin, so that's your DNA, right? That's your.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But other than that, yeah. So when me and my daughter, when we talk, we have a connection over rock bands and things like that. But it's just I think she doesn't know how to go further than that. So she accused me of other things like not caring and things like that. And I just be like, well, look, I can't just force whatever my feelings is and the situation upon you. It's up to you to ask me, you know, or we can have a conversation about it. But I don't want to just be jumping down your throat and just be like, no, your mama did this, your mama did that, because that's not good
Right,
for you either.
right. It's
So
not.
yeah, so
Um.
when I sit back, I just sit back and we sometimes we talk, sometimes we don't. So pretty
So
much
I
get you.
guess like everything that has happened, but like I don't know how you are today in terms of what you feel, but this been a long journey in terms of being alienated or as other people would say, you didn't try hard enough, you didn't fight hard enough, but that's your own truth of why that, right? And this is
Yeah.
your story. So I guess what we're trying to figure out is what did you want to share, like what's the hopes of like where you are today with it? Do you want to rebuild the relationship with your daughter? I know you're still having some conflicting issues with your son and that mom. Like, where are you? And then, not to mention, you're with a significant other. We haven't even touched on how does she feel about these things? Like,
Well,
what's
she's
happening with your current relationship? If does she know you feel this way, given
oh
you know
yeah, she
past?
yeah, she knows. She knows. Like
Like,
with the
have your
third
kids all been together? Have they met each other? Have you
yeah,
made it
yeah.
to that step yet?
Yeah, my son how my son and my daughter, they did it without me. Like this was recently. Like they met up without me one time, and I didn't even know they did. Like my son called me and was like, "Hey, I'm in Madison," because they live like not even they live. It's a bridge, a highway bridge within their house. Like
Very close to each other.
they very close to each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I like, and I didn't even know because I didn't know where I knew where my daughter stayed at because I was going to pick her up and everything and deal with her mom and stuff to just to have this relationship be cordial with her mom.
Hmm.
And me and them, like her mom and my daughter, we would like mm, go places and like to a restaurant or something to talk and everything. But it was to the point to where I was getting annoyed with the mom
So
So
because
what?
what? Yeah, go ahead.
I was about to ask: is she still married? She's still with the father
no,
that right? No.
And then
no,
my question,
Because why would she want to be with you?
yeah,
right.
To be
So
with
that's
your daughter 17 years later.
and that's what I'm
That's
saying.
weird.
And yeah,
yeah,
and the
that was
mom
my question. So what sparked that? Like 17 years
Is she
later?
trying to get back with
that
like what's going on?
yeah, I don't know what sparked that, but me being like the gullible person I was, all I was thinking about was my daughter, but I knew that I was gonna be annoyed with the mom, but it's just something was just wasn't clicking because I'm like, what is going on? Like tell me what is going on to the point to where you're talking to me like nothing ever happened. Like we and I'm trying to show my daughter that I could be cordial with her mom, because that's what my daughter was like kind of mad
Pushing
at
for.
me over,
Yeah.
because yeah, my daughter was like, well, look, you don't talk to my mom and everything else. But I'm like, well, now I see your mama haven't told you a lot. Your mama hasn't told you anything really on why I'm really low key mad at her. But I had to really show her and prove to her that I can be a grown up and cordial with her mom, that I can co-parent, because that's how it's been. But I guess she was telling them that, oh well, your father never wants to
But
talk to me in this.
honestly, the position that you were in, and I know you were just trying to, have some kind of connection with your daughter, so you didn't want to ruin that. But the reality is, that was robbed from you. If she took your baby for 17 years, it's no place for cordialness, right? Like
Yeah,
Mm.
it's no room to be nice. Like,
right.
and so I get it, but it's just like, so we we hear a lot of wild stories, right? We've been through it ourselves, and so when somebody plays with your kids, it's
Yeah,
definitely
it's a
not room to be, in a good space with them,
yeah.
because everybody has suffered behind that lack of 17 years,
Oh yeah,
so.
no, that was another reason why I fell in a deep depression. Like I'm still there. Like even though I'm leveling, like it's like I'm climbing up from it a little bit, but it's like, bit by
Because
bit.
what
But
is it like? What brought you to us in terms of what is the big thing that you want to share? Like, what's gonna be the weight off of your shoulders? Because going forward, you still are a father to these children. You still have to show up for them, right? No matter what happened and what you couldn't do, you have to move forward. And so we're trying to figure out, like, what does tomorrow look like, and what does next week look like? What do you plan on doing? Because if it's trying to be cordial with somebody that kept your kids away from for 17 years, I don't think that that's gonna be the best thing for you.
no, well, to be honest, I didn't almost kind of didn't think that far, because like I said, like with these situations, my mind is everywhere. Like, but definitely when I heard women bad mouth like fathers who actually trying to be there, because it kind of almost angers me, because I'm there, and when I see a man that's really doing what he's supposed to do, and it's a problem, but then I see the deadbeats ain't doing what they supposed to do, and they get all of it. I mean, they trying to force the kid on him, and
Yeah.
it makes me mad, because I got up, I graduated from father support class, like I was there, I'm working two jobs and able to make it to that class. I got the certificate. I mean, I went to the lawyers, I got a free consultation from that, but it was like it was nothing else after that. So, and me being in this depression thing, like I don't have, a message. The only thing I can say is like, just, don't give up. Like,
Are you blaming yourself for anything? Do you feel you could have done more, or like where are you with you?
to be honest, I'm still not there with me. Like I'm not. Like I
Have you
blamed myself.
considered therapy?
Yeah, but that was expensive too.
Yeah.
Like I it was to the point to where if I didn't I don't know how long I would be here if I didn't meet the third one. If I didn't meet the last one, I don't know how long I would have been here. And nobody knows this about me. So when this come out, if my mom see it, my sister see it, and things like that, like they didn't know. And it was to the point to where, I was almost getting ready to, because I felt like I did everything. Like I'm talking to God, like, hey God, I did everything you asked me. I stayed there. I brought kids into this world and I didn't abandon them. Like,
Yeah.
what else can I do?
Why you, right?
Yeah,
Like,
why?
why is this happening to you,
Yeah, to the
right?
point to where I couldn't keep a stable job. Like I couldn't keep a job because of how depressed I was. Like I'm up, I'm every day up, and all I'm asking is to see my kids, and I can't even do that.
So
Like I
what was the most challenging thing for you dealing with parental alienation? Of course, I know
just
not seeing your kids on a daily, but I'm saying like every day. Just walk us through like one day.
um the fact of just man, and then whatever the consequences is. Okay, well, my brother he has two kids too. He has a kid by the auntie, and he has another kid. And when we all see each other, and I've like it is with twins, like they right there at the hip. And I still talk to them to this day and everything. I still love them, like nothing ever happens and things like that. But it's like when I see him with his kids, and it kind of makes me sad because I'm like I don't have mine, you know. Like it took for me to have this last one because she has a son too, and I raised him because the dad ain't trying to be in his life. And then when it was at one point where she was saying like, "Hey, well, if he ain't gonna beat her, then he ain't gonna see him." And I was like, "No, don't do that. I don't care what you're talking about. Like he
And
gonna have to see
kudos
his
to
father."
you for
Yeah,
that. Kudos
yeah,
to you for that.
yeah. And she got my mindset when it came to it, but it took for me to have this third one to finally have some type of uh joy. Because it was to the point to when she did take me back, I was like, look, I don't care how long I gotta earn your trust back. I do it anything, and that's what I've been doing. And she believes in me. She believes in my dreams, all that. Like even like I'm working towards that dream right now, like things like that in that nature. But those things, those are just hobbies to make me happy. And when I see my daughter, it makes me happy. But uh, that I'm gonna get to raise this one, with no problems, But at first, when I didn't have her, I just look at my brother and just look at his kids, and I just be like, man, I wish I had that. Like I wish I had that. But everybody think like I'm just okay. But I got the mask on the entire time. I got that on, but in the inside, I'm like, man, I want that. Like, cause I grew up with well my I've lived with my brother for a long time, and when I finally got out on my own and everything, and I just know like I have much more pictures with much more memories and pictures with my nephews than I have with my own
Oh,
kids.
kids.
Yeah, that's tough. So let me ask you this. So how do you think that affected your relationship with your son? Because I heard you say earlier what you told the mother of your kids that you don't feel like you can be a good father because you was
Oh
missing that void from your first child.
yeah,
So
I told my son what I said to his mom, but then when I told him that I was gonna be in his life forever, and nobody's gonna tell me anything. Sorry, I threw my phone back there.
that's
Um,
why.
he understood why. He was like, "But I'm proud of you because you stayed with me the entire time." Like it be times to where he be thinking that he the father. He called me up like I was recently sick, and he'd be like, "Well, what you need to do? You need to get you some orange juice. You need to get you some medicine." I'm like, "Well, I'm the father. How you gonna tell me how to take care of myself? I've been sick." But it's been times where he hit me up in the middle of the night and be like, "Yo, I know I don't say it to you, but I'm proud of you, Dad." You know, things like that. And then when he see me working hard, he'd be like, "Dad, look, because he played football, he'd be like, look, when I make it to the NFL, the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get you a house." I'm like, Tristan, don't worry about that right now. Just worry about you in
Make it.
football and things
Right.
like that. Yeah, I'm like, just worry about that. I'm like, I don't need all that, but just do what you got to do and everything. But it's
But
like,
that just shows that unbreakable mind that you established.
yeah, and that's one thing. That's one thing I'm proud of.
This stuff don't come with instructions, right? And so
No,
you, in my opinion, for what it's worth, even though you might not have done what you feel the right way it should have went, right? Because
yeah,
we all get that in life. And I'm not a therapist by far, so
no, that's fine.
this is just from the heart. But I just feel like 3 is a charm. You made mistakes. Your
Yeah,
second child. got more from you than the first, and
Yeah.
now the third child is getting more because you've grown, you're in a different headspace, you understand what's happening, but the way that you have to deal with these things, at least you move past certain parts of it. You may not be all the way there with yourself like you admitted earlier, but give yourself some grace, because the reality is you still have these children and you are their father and they still need you. And so life doesn't stop just because you lost some time. You just have
And
to do your best to rebuild those memories going
yeah,
forward.
and that was one thing I had to deal with too, because like with the depression, I stopped everything. Like I didn't want to do nothing anymore. I was like I was a deadbeat at that time, because it was like I didn't get a job, or when I did have a job I couldn't keep it long enough. Um, Even though like I would get up and go to these jobs, it was always a
That's
problem.
probably what depressed you, feeling like a deadbeat, right?
Oh yeah, and
Because
I
you
literally,
were pretty much labeled that anyway. If
yeah,
you
I was,
been
and
away from any kid,
yeah,
that's what you
I
were
was
being
labeled
labeled
that,
as.
definitely with the second baby mama. I was labeled that, and then um, where my son knows that I'm not. My son knows that I'm not, because I've been there to try to do everything and give him money and stuff like that. But with the second baby mom, it's just no getting around that. But if I ever was to get off child support for either one of them, I probably wouldn't want to get off child support for the second one, because I mean I was there, and he, even though the first one deserves that, I it's just I don't know how to really explain it, because I know that I was there for him. But with the first one, I feel like I shouldn't, because I was there all the way with that one. And she's old enough now, and sometimes I just think at first it was like I thought she was coming back around for a check, which the mom, when it was that. And I was like, hey, look, just give her money is hers and everything. And then she told me she wasn't giving it to her, and she was using it for other ones. And this is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, we know
I
this
have
stuff
a,
is happening. Like
yeah,
you.
yeah, because with I don't know if we press for time, but it's just a lot, because with the first baby mom, I mean, with the first baby mom, I think it was what put the icing on the cake is when me and her was gonna get back together. We ended up having, after a long time of her not seeing, I ended up was like, all right, cool. Like, look, I want to make this family with my daughter and everything else. So we ended up having sex again, and then
With the first baby mama?
yeah, and this is when
Oh
I was gullible,
nah,
right?
man.
So this is when I was gullible,
And
and
how old was
then
your daughter at the time?
she was like, I think I don't know, maybe 5 or 6. I can't
So
remember.
it was like 5 years since you seen your daughter at that point.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and
Oh
she
man.
ghosted me again. Like after that, ghosted me again. Didn't come back around. Didn't pick up again. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then when one day I was at school, and I get a phone call from what's the I guess social services or something like that, about a baby being born. And I was like, um, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like at a bus stop in front of the school, and this is when I was getting my GED. And she said that a baby was being born, and I was like, "Well, why are you calling me?" I'm like, "I don't know." And she said the name, and I was like, "Jessica." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I haven't been with Jessica in so long." I'm like, "I only have one kid by her." And she was like, "Well, you don't have um another kid by the name of blank blank blank." And I was like, "Well, no, my last name is King. It's not that." And I'm like, "And that's what my daughter last name is." And I was like, "Well, no." And then, well, she was like, "Well, your name was on the birth certificate." And I was like, "Why is my name on the birth certificate?"
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Why?" And she was like, "Well, it says here your name." And I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." So then, um, she asks me, did I want to get a DNA test or something like that? And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I would like to get a DNA test." So she set up the DNA test, and I go, but she never shows. Never
So
shows up for
Wow.
you.
your name is still on this her
No,
second
after
baby.
that, no, after that, after I told them, I was like, hey, look, and I had like, and when I told the lady, like, I'm not even nowhere near this area where she's having this baby. I'm like, right now I'm on a bus stop. I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about. And she was a black woman too. She was like, oh, so you're not there? I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. She was like, well, ain't your name Chance King? I was like, yes. And she was like, so you don't have a blank blank last name? I was like, no. Like we have one kid and her name is my last name.
So
And
is
she was
it
like,
possible that she probably came with you that one time to
Try to put that baby
baby
on
on
you.
you?
yeah, to try to put that baby on me
Oh
and
no,
force my
man!
name
Why
on the
would you
birth.
do that?
Listen,
Yeah, and
this
force
goes back to the question of us saying, how do you really know your first kid is your kid? Like
right.
anybody
No,
that's capable
Yeah, you ain't keeping it
of
real with us,
no,
man.
no. That I was trying to get up to that and then all the questions came, but that one, no. The first one for a fact, I know for a fact the first one is mine. I know for a fact the first one is mine. She
okay.
looks like me, everything for a fact. The second one, no. And I was just like, why would you do that? So when I called her, she said she didn't. But I'm like, the lady called me and said that you forged my name on a certificate. And she was like, I didn't. But I was like, the lady did. And I was like, and that's why you didn't show up to the paternity test. And
Man, that's
after that, that's what it was. But the first one, hands down, no, because I asked, and I don't know, I'm
No,
kind of
not
superstitious.
just, how it played out. And I know y'all was together in high school and always, inseparable. But
Yeah,
we're just saying, you just never
you
know.
never
Like,
know. Yeah,
that's all.
and,
Like we hear your story, and I get it,
and
but we gotta ask because of the chaos.
oh
Like you
yeah,
can't trust somebody that can just up and leave and snatch your kid and run away for years and years and come back and try to put another kid on you. That's
yeah,
not like this is a person that's clearly not honest, right?
right,
A person
right,
that's not trustworthy. So that's why we had that question. But
right.
if
but
you
And it
say it's
turns
your
out,
daughter, it's your daughter.
but
yeah, and it turns out the second one was is his because it got his last name. I did some digging and his last name was the last name of that baby. And I was like, well, how do I know his last name and I don't even know him? Because when I said the name and she was like, what? I was like, yeah, it said his last name and I don't even know him.
that's
I'm
Wow,
like, ain't
wild,
that his last name? And she was like, yeah. So I'm like, how do I know it? And I don't talk to either one of y'all.
man. It's
that's
man,
a
So
lot.
that's a lot.
That's a
yeah,
lot of lot.
and that's what it is. And I don't know if I don't know because in well, my grandma once told me if you ask God for strength, God is going to test you on that strength, and I think that's what it really was. And like I said, I don't have a message. I just wanted to get my story out there. Yeah, some people are like the people are deceivable, but don't give up on some. And if you do have that one person that that shows you their true genuine selves, believe it. Don't, even if it's good or bad, and definitely when it comes to good, don't dismiss it because of your own feelings. Because I dismissed this third one because of my own feelings, because of how I felt and things of that nature.
You must still carry some guilt about that, about what happened between you guys. But you really have to give yourself grace because if she loved you that much and came back to you, that was meant to be. Y'all have a beautiful baby now. Like
Yeah,
you can forgive yourself for that. I know you just wish she was the only person you met. We
I
feel the
do.
same way about
Each
each
other.
other and having kids by other people that was a terrible mistake,
Yeah,
but that's life, right? Life, and we just have to keep pushing and keep moving. And I appreciate your transparency for joining us tonight. We just want to give people this space to tell their story. And I know you probably don't think you have a message, but in your story, there's plenty of messages. There's
right.
plenty of ways that people can just say, okay, I want to do this. I want to tell somebody about this, whatever. So again, coming up here, changing your mind, turning
Yeah,
that camera on.
yeah.
All of this is a plus. Like this is good stuff. And so we just wish and hope for all the best things for you and your kids. I know you probably didn't get a chance to cover everything, but you can
No,
always come back for part two if you need to. If something
That's
else
fine.
comes up, so we want you to keep us posted. But we just want to know that you are, setting that stone where you keeping a bond with your kids, even though the past is terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
what can you do? You can't go back
Right.
in time. What can you do? So you only just
Right.
do better.
Man, I always look at it like this, man. Your daughter's only 17, man. You plan on living until you 70, 80, 90 years old, right?
Yeah.
So you got to understand that part of life, that your kids is going to be grown way more than they longer than they was kids. So you got
Right.
to look at it like that, man. You got a lot to a lot of life left. So with that being said, I just focus on just all the good memories, make new good memories with her. I wouldn't pretty much try to focus on the past, even though
Yeah.
as an alienated child, she's gonna have tons of questions to ask, and I would keep it real with her. But it's like it's really wasn't no beef because she got took at a younger age. So it's like
Yeah.
it really wasn't no drama there. It's just the
Right.
fact that you just
You
didn't see
wasn't
your kid.
right. You weren't present.
Right. And the mom kind of just, kind of brainwashed her there too. Because when she got here, she broke out crying just one time. Like I picked up my baby, and then she just broke out crying. And one time, man, her kind of, it wasn't an argument, but we kind of got into like a little back and forth. And I just told him like, hey, look, I know what it's like, and I'm like, and you got questions, but I'm like, you cried the first time you got here. Because I was like, I know I'm a topic in your household. Because I'm like, your mom had to have told you something different about me that you see different here. She probably told you that I don't love like that. She probably told you I'm a mean person and this and that. But then when you got around me, you saw how nice I was. Like, she liked to paint.
She
I got a whole,
she doesn't know that she was alienated. She doesn't know
yeah,
she's an alienated child. Okay, so
yeah,
however you have to break that to her, it's necessary because the more she knows, and I'm not talking about from you and her mom like the details, but just that this is a thing. Parental alienation exists.
yeah,
You need to do research to give it to her in the best way from father to child so that she'll understand this is what happened. This is the basis of how our story played out. And
right,
so it really doesn't matter about the raw details because we know that she was not around for so many years, so she's gotten all the best of the parental alienation that she could get. And so yeah, you just
Oh,
yeah,
need to
on top of you don't even know the trauma that she faced
experience.
in the experience in the household.
Exactly.
You,
right,
you see what I'm
That
saying?
might not come
yeah,
out for years, right?
yeah,
So
So a
yeah,
lot of unpacking here. It's a lot of unboxing that's
so
needed.
so the
So
basically what we pretty much saying is this, man. You just both of y'all really just if you watching, what's your daughter name? Y'all both gotta give each other grace.
and be patient.
right.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
and
happen overnight. It takes a lot of patience to rebuild. To
yeah,
rebuild, you know.
and that's one thing I've been overcoming too. Like I've been meditating more and things like that because it's like when something irks me dealing with that, I'm just like I'm mad like that. Like and it's been like that to the point where it's like it's taken over my whole persona. Like everybody to the point to where I'm not mad and people think that I'm mad. Like that's how bad it done took over. Like oh maybe because it's on my face, but really in the inside, like people be like, man, what's wrong with you? And I'd be like, nothing. What are you talking about? And then they just keep asking me. They be like, you sure? I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Well,
But
at
it's on my
least you doing the
face.
work. At least you're
Yeah,
doing something, to try to
yeah,
help you when you in that bad space, and that it takes over. Um, Yeah, I mean, all of these things is very relatable. Like, and when this airs and it's out there, and people get to hear what you're saying when they are people that are alienated, kids, parents, whatever, they can relate. They
yeah.
will. You will. It's like talking to yourself,
Right.
listening to yourself, not talking to yourself.
But
I'm
no,
crazy, right?
we appreciate you though, man, for coming
No
on here,
problem.
too.
Yeah, sharing your story with us, because
Especially after
Yeah,
you didn't want to do it, man.
yeah.
So
Thank you for your
that was
encouragement.
nothing but the universe. Like that, we got to give it to the power to the Most High always, because this stuff is so unspoken, right?
Yeah,
It's like taboo, right? And
yeah,
so people just don't enough people don't hear enough to know enough about it, and that's why we have to do this. Whether it's, you know, it just has to be
done.
done.
right.
Yeah.
And one more thing, I did have something of a message, a little. Uh, if it's so, and if anybody out there is going through the same thing or being alienated, they child been alienated for them, or try to find a father support group, because I mean, they pretty much help. And like I said, like if they trying to say that, oh, if these people are going to these courts and telling them what you're not doing and things like that, these father support groups, they deal with these type of things. They deal with courts. They deal with trying to help you with jobs and things like that. And I actually graduated from. I have a certificate, everything from my class, all that. They really help. You have to put in the work for it, because some they will believe the woman before they believe the man, and I know this for a fact, because like I said, they've said that I haven't did anything. And when I was in the court, when that woman wrote down at $500, and when I told her I graduated from father support, she paused and looked at me like, "You graduated from father support?" I was like, "Yes." I told them the name of the person that
Are
I
they still
dealt with.
active
Mhm.
today?
Yes, they still active today.
And
Yes.
that's in your area?
Yeah. Oh, in the St. Louis area. Yes, they have
Okay,
them here in
so
the
yeah,
St.
anybody watching,
Yes.
there's a support group in the St. Louis area that supports fathers to get through
To get
court.
up there,
Uh,
they're gonna teach you a bunch of things. They're gonna teach you about nutrition. They're gonna teach you about jobs. They not no slouch, because they really strict. It's like a 6 week program, but they're really strict
but
on
what's the end goal? Is it for
the
like
end
mental
goal.
health, or is it about
That
strictly just
too
the family court system?
it's for everything. Mental health issues, to show you what to do in the middle of situations dealing with the child's mother in between you, mediation, things of that nature,
Oh,
all that.
okay.
And you can't go on there being no slouch. They try to change you to be a better father for the better. Like if you sagging and everything, you can't go on there with sagging. Like the only time they will let you come in their regular clothes is like the first day. Then the next day they'll be like, "Hey, look, all right, now you got to go out here, get you a collar shirt, get you some slacks, get you a nice belt, get you some shoes," because they're gonna build you up with confidence. And plus, when you go into these courts, you got to look presentable. And that's one thing I remember. Um, my teacher, he used to tell me, "I don't turn down nothing but my collar." Like, and then I would just be like, "What do you mean by that?" And he'd be like, "Look, if you need help, you need help. Don't just because you have pride don't mean anything. You can have pride, but everybody needs help. It's like if I'm like handing you like an application for a job, that means like, brother, you need help. Don't be scared to ask for a job. Don't be scared to be like, hey, look, I need help in this area. I need help in that area. That's what we're here for. And when I graduated, that's when I understood that you turned down nothing but your collar. So yeah, when we got, I have the pictures and everything. Like when we got there first, everybody had on regular clothes. They tell them to put their pants up. And when we was all done, we all had on collar shirts, blazers. We looked like stand up gentlemen in there,
That's what's up, man.
and
That's
it was
that's a good resource,
yeah, and it is
for
because one
dads.
guy, it
Not
is
we
one
don't
guy.
have enough of them, right? And so,
Yeah, no, because one guy he came in and he didn't have anything. He didn't have his kid, nothing. And then once he got done, he ended up getting custody of his kid. Like he went out there and did what he had to do to get custody of his kid, and it worked out for him. Because I remember he didn't have anything, not even a phone, and he got it done. And like I said, they work. You just gotta, you gotta get the work done, and you gotta do it. Because if you're late on these things, they'll be like, "Hey, look, you gotta come back next time." And it doesn't cost to do it, but they really strict on it because they put the strictness on it. Because if you able to make it through the 6 week program, you're able to fight for your kid and things like that.
Most
So
definitely.
that's what it is, and that's what we all did. We started off as I think 20, and only 6 of us came out.
Yeah,
So
it's tough.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
Yeah, it's
we
everybody not cut out for
yeah.
that. But
So
we
that's good to
find a
know you
father
did that
support.
as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
find a father support program. I don't wherever it's in your city. If you don't know, Google them. They should have them. These are free facilities. You just go in and tell them that you're looking for a father support program because these work better in court too. That you have this evidence that you have graduated and did what you're supposed to do for your child, and it'll change the judge's perspective on what's going on because some of these judges think that you are dead, but you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that. But if you tell them these things and that you have the certificate, you did this, they be like, okay, oh well, somebody's got to be lying here. So find the father support program to help you with these things, and make sure you get through it, and make sure
if
you
they
have
if somebody wanted to reach out to you and ask you about that, would that be
Is
okay?
that something you open to?
Sure. Yeah, I have a
You can share your
Facebook.
Instagram.
Yeah, I share my Instagram. I share my Facebook. My Facebook is just Chance King. I think I hardly get on Instagram, but I think my Instagram is the same thing as Chance King as well. So yeah, if you have questions about it, just hit me up on it, and then I'll definitely if you're in the St. Louis area, I'll tell you where it's at and where to go and things, or just Google it for yourself. But yeah, just make sure you have that one done because that's a big help. A big help.
All right. Well,
Thank you so
uh,
much, Chance.
Thank you
yeah,
for having me.
appreciate you.
Keep us
Thank you.
posted if you want to share some more details. We're always here to
Okay.
hear you guys.
Okay.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, man. Anybody else want to step up, man? Come tell your story, man.
W3. Let's do this.
Send a
But
request.
um
But yeah, man. I just want to touch on a few things with that guy, man. This is why it's always important to educate yourself when dealing with family courts.
and he was young. In his defense,
Yes.
he started out really young as a young father, so that really hindered him. But a lot of parents, dads for sure, do not know. They don't know how to navigate, the family court system. They don't even know where to start or where to begin. And so that's why we want to do this so that we can get the word out and encourage everyone to fight for your kids. Like this is what it's really about. And so,
Yeah.
um,
You gotta continue to fight. Yeah, to his defense though, he was young. And you definitely need a support, a support group, somebody there, any support that help you because fighting this battle is tough, man, and nobody can do it alone. It's very tough, but this is why it's always important for you to try to educate yourself, though. Besides hiring a lawyer, because he went through all this trauma and he went through all this drama when it really didn't have to be that way, and a lot of fathers don't even understand or don't even know, and this is the problem that we make. The mistake we make all the time is not fighting and not educating ourselves and not putting ourselves in positions to fight for our kids. So I'm glad he spoke because he's one of many. I was that guy at one point, and luckily I was blessed with a wife sooner than he was, and she pushed me, but we don't be knowing. So that's what I encourage all fathers, man, is to go out there and to do whatever you got to do, man, to educate yourself on that.
yeah, it's definitely necessary.
And Spoken Truth podcast, I always tell people I need support.
We all need
Yeah.
support. Everybody needs it.
If you want to come up and tell your story, you can. Let's see here.
Um, but
The
yeah,
the link the link is in the bio too. So whoever want to join, just tap the link. Is at the bio. I could post it again for you guys. Hold on. But I should be pinned at the top.
So you just join with the link. It'll have you in the queue as a guest, and we'll accept you and go from there. That's the link.
That's the link right there.
But yeah, this stuff is not easy, and we know it's going to be a lot of pushback, a lot of naysayers about some of the people who do have a real story to tell. Um, we definitely can sift through truths and fiction, stuff that doesn't sound, true to belief. And but the reality is we know that every woman is not a bitter baby mama, and we do understand that every man is not a deadbeat. And so a lot of people get caught up on thinking that we're just here for fathers and men, but it's really more so about parents, alienated parents and alienated children. And so whoever falls in that category is who we support. If you have the proof and the truth, then we stand by you. And that's how it goes. Who we got? W3
What's
TV.
up?
How
What's
are
going on?
you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
can
We
hear
hear
you
you.
good.
Oh, okay, okay.
How are you this evening?
All right, YouTube. Like it, like it, like it.
Yeah. So how are you, man? How everything good with you?
Yeah, I cannot complain, man. I was looking for y'all on the other side, and I was like, man, they done changed up on us over here.
Oh
I
no, man.
not like that. We just got to move some things around and get the schedule consistent. But
Yeah.
TikTok is definitely where we'll be again.
yeah, I saw
We working hard on everything.
Every platform.
fantastic,
All right. So
fantastic. Yeah.
can you just tell the people your name, of course?
Okay, so I go by W3 TV family. You need that?
And
Okay.
can you tell the people where you from?
W3 TV family. I'm from Florida. This is where I do my thing at. So I'm a advocate, just like who's the deadbeat over here, trying to help out all the dads going through family court situations. Most again, like they said, I heard earlier, not an attorney, not a therapist, just trying to be there for moral support for dads going through, because I know that it's a lot to navigate the family court system, especially when we have everything against us. So, having been through it 3 times, I'm more than happy to help and be a part of helping other guys who need help navigating through that system so they can get back in their kids' lives or get more time or just whatever they need to get to where they got to get to. And thank goodness I got in touch with who's the deadbeat, and I roll with them whenever I can find them over here. So that's
Same
that's
here.
that's
Thank you for
yeah,
joining us tonight. We just
definitely.
real brief, just because you do have the background and you have a lot of knowledge, and even us doing what we do, advocating for fathers and giving some good gems. This probably won't be your first time, but we just needed to go ahead and break the barrier because we have spoken to a lot of people who have talked about just some things in the court system that we know you have went through. If you want to be transparent and share, you can. If not, that's fair. So we just wanted to touch on the lifetime protection order. Um, if you wanted to just give kind of just details on how it can happen and what the effects that it can have.
Okay, so yeah, so what they're talking about is out of my 5 kids, I have a lifetime protection order on one kid and one of my children. And if I'm being honest, that out of everything that had to do with court, that's the one part of court that I never, and most people never understood how it got to that point. That was the very first court situation I had was with that one particular child, and I, just like I heard the gentleman up here a minute ago saying, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue how to navigate what was supposed to be done, And to be honest, I think with that whole situation, I pretty much got railroaded into a situation where um they they I was at their will. They did what they wanted to do, and once it got done, I didn't know how to get back out of it right away. Now that was my middle child. I had already had two daughters, and I was already taking care of my two daughters. So I I'll say this much as far as that goes. That was definitely a blessing in the whole thing for me because I had two other kids that I was taking care of. I I didn't I wasn't able to devote the time that I wanted to try to fight that situation because I wasn't making a lot of money back then, and I was trying to take care of my two daughters solely by myself. So it was a hassle. It was a hassle at that. But I mean, long story short on that one, because like I said, I really can't tell you how it got to be that because most people I talk to have never heard of a lifetime order. I still haven't heard of anybody else with a lifetime order. Except for I heard you guys. I saw an interview you guys did with a lady from Florida yesterday, I think it was, and she said one of the mom had a lifetime order, but
And
I don't know
also,
how.
not to cut you off, but here in Texas, while we were fighting for custody, there was a judge. We went. If anybody that knows a little bit about our story, in the midst of have already established a court order for 50-50 custody, there were some abuse allegations, and so we went back to get a temporary order. And during this time, our attorney had mentioned about a judge in the family court system here in Texas that was basically giving lifetime orders out like they were candy. At the
Right,
time, we had never heard of an order protection that could be that for a lifetime, right? Like at that, like how do you get that, right?
right,
And
right.
Right.
so, we heard it and didn't hear it because all we were concerned about was just getting our temporary order for the injunction of what we needed at the time for fighting custody, right? So fast forward, the judge that didn't give us the order in our favor for the kids at the time was in office and on the bench at the same time as this other judge, and it was a
Mm,
new time to re-elect new judges, and thank god they both were elected out of office,
gotcha.
right? And
Yep.
so now she's under investigation for giving out these lifetime order protections like candy. And so they're investigating her because she was being biased and unfair, and just a lot going on.
Yeah.
Fast forward, and so we couldn't believe it because we remember our attorney mentioning this woman, on the bench doing this, and now how many lives has she's affected? How many people has she ruined by doing this? I think one guy said that. What did he say back? That he went to try to serve the
Yes.
the mother of his kids
And
with an
got
order to modify their current court order,
yeah.
and he was hit with a lifetime
Lifetime.
order of protection. He's already fighting her in court, and then she slaps him with this, and so a lot of fishiness and connections being made. But again, you said you had never heard of it. We had never heard of it either, and I know that a lot we actually fought and was in a system and never heard of it. So imagine the people who don't even have a clue about half the stuff that we talk about: parental alienation, child custody, child support, all these different things. Of course, they would never hear of a lifetime order of protection. So,
Correct.
um, I don't know if you want to get into how that happened because I did want to touch on like the silver bullet aspect of it as well.
Okay. So,
Not to be too personal, if if it's not an area that you don't want to
well,
give too
I'll
many
say
details.
it in general, right? I'll say that part in general. So yeah, that was a part of the silver bullet tactic. So for the people who don't know what the silver bullet tactic is, if you haven't talked about it already, it's when one party accuses the other party of what usually is abuse, and once you accuse them, and in Florida, I'm saying usually because in Florida, abuse can be different things. It doesn't have to be physical. It could be verbal, whatever kind of abuse it is. Once you're accused of it, and the court finds a liability, because all it takes is, I remember this very clearly. You go to All they have to do is go to court. They file something by themselves. You don't have to be there. of saying that, hey,
Like
this
ex
person,
parte
right,
something.
like this person, right, this person, I feel threatened, and all the court does, they have a judge, the clerk goes behind, tells the judge signs it. Boom, you're on silver bullet track right there. Because as soon as they sign that, they give that particular person, mom or dad, whoever it is, they give that particular person an injunction where for anywhere from 30 to 90 days, it's them and the child. And once they have their self and the child, and you can't see the child at that point in time, it already starts the wheels rolling. So now you can't see the child. So depending on how old that child is, you know, you're out of the school, and they're starting to set standards, to set precedents of the child being with that particular parent, and you're pretty much messed up right there. But the biggest part that shocked me about the lifetime order with the silver bullet was that's the final part of the silver bullet. Once they get the injunction, the silver bullet is done. That particular parent is on track to be the primary parent, um, custodial of the child. But the part that got me was that when they do these injunctions, as long as there's nothing going on with the child, they leave the child out of it. But this one, for me, they put my daughter in it. And then so for the lifetime that they put in there, it was for both of them. So that blew me away, and they never changed it. And so like you guys said, you didn't hear about it. I never heard about it. It happened, and all the way through, because I fought it for a long time, and it never changed. But the biggest part that opened my eyes to how crazy it was, again, I already had two daughters. I'm raising two daughters, but you're telling me that I can't be around my other
One of
daughter,
my children, exactly.
and right, and I'm like, so how
Somebody
how how
has
do I
a
have the other daughter?
question in the comments. They're asking, is it for cause? Is that correct that they gave you this for cause? Like no, because that's what we're talking about, the silver bullet. It- So explain. She's saying it's justified, right, that you got this lifetime order because
Oh, right,
you.
right. You know what? And I was gonna. You're right. Okay, I was gonna get into that again. And I know people don't understand that. The first thing you think when you hear lifetime order is this person was horrible, terrible. They did things. They probably tried to kill somebody, da 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 da, or unalive somebody. I don't know if you can say that on YouTube, but
Yeah.
and no, 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 no. It was a regular domestic situation that again, that I would have thought the my daughter wouldn't have been involved in, but they put her in there. And when they did it, like I said, the last time that we were in the courtroom, the funniest part was it was me, the mom, and the judge is looking me dead in my eye, and he just said, he told me straight up, oh, you have this lifetime order. And I don't know if it was to bait me. He thought I was going to be some kind of a give him some kind of a reaction after he said that, or whatever the case may be. But again, I didn't know what was going on, and I definitely wasn't going to try to get myself in any more trouble. So he told me that, and I'm just like, yes sir, whatever you say. I don't know what you want me to do. And I went from there. So to
I
answer
have a
that
question.
yeah, go ahead.
So, okay, so typical order of protections have an expiration date, right?
Right.
So say for instance, your kid, they add the minor children to it for whatever reason. I guess it's on a case by case basis, right? And
Mhm.
so to me, like when I think of a lifetime order, I feel like this child will not be a minor for her lifetime. So, does it expire for her once she becomes an adult? No, or you don't know, or like how does that work? Because that's the part that's confusing to me because she's not gonna be a minor child for a lifetime.
I agree, and I don't know the answer to that question. The only thing I tell you is, once upon a time, after she turned 18, I believe I got stopped one day, like just for a regular speed, traffic violation or whatever. And I actually just thought about that, and I asked the cop. I said, "Hey, look, because when you have the order of protection, it shows the cops whenever they see you pull your license, it shows them." So I asked them, I
Yeah.
said, "Hey, can you still see that?" And they was like, and what I didn't know was there certain colors they see or whatever. So it's like, yeah, there's a something red showing that you have some kind of injunction or whatever. And I'm like, man, again, I haven't seen mom, I haven't seen my child, and since like 20 years. I'm like, man, they still have it. So obviously it didn't fall off. It's still there. But But the best that I had tried to do, which I maybe I didn't tell you that part of the story, but what I can put that in there real quick is that there was still a path, right? When it first happened, it was still a path. So when you go through the silver bullet, this is what happens. Once they do the injunction, they do set some kind of what's the word? They give you a course, a course that you can get back into to something. So here's what happened that was a problem with mine. She was 3 months old, so I got to see her once a week at a court facility, um for like an hour, and this was the stipulation. Once I got to go there, she by the time I got to go there, she didn't know me anymore. She was 3 months old, so they said, "Hey, if you go in here, you can hold her, you can play with the toys, whatever the case may be. But if she starts crying for over a minute, we stop the visit and you go." She's a baby. She didn't know me
Oh my
anymore.
God. Are you
They gave her to
serious?
me. Yeah, they gave her to me. She cried. 1 minute hit. All right,
It was
visitation's
over.
over, and we got to go. They did it twice, and they said after two times we can't do it anymore. So after the second
For a
time,
three
no more.
month old?
Yep, exactly. No more visitation. And then so then the only other thing I could do was when again when you get hit with that injunction, you have to do um classes, all that stuff, which I already did before because it was part of um parenting classes, stuff like that you have to do in Florida anyway. And so I did all that, and then I tried to set up visitation, and that was the last part that happened because they tried to give me some visitation. I think maybe a year or two out,
Was it
and
supervised visitation?
right, there was supervised visitation. And let me tell for whoever's listening how that works and how that works against you. Whether you have kids or you don't have kids, let's just if you have a life, if you have a job, if you have whatever, in Florida anyway, you can opt to use the government as supervised, or you can use your own family members. She chose to use her own family members. She knew my work schedule, so what, and she knew that I had the other kids and what time they had to be picked up and all that stuff. So what she did was every time it was time for me to try and visit, she would do it at a time that I was either working or that I had to pick up my other kids and from school and whatever the case may be. And one again, same thing. Once you're late for it, then it goes against you, and they they look down on you for that. So it was just a big
Them
mess.
that
And
let me not to
huh?
cut you off. Them daddy girls, she got a couple of questions for you, and
I
I
can't
don't
see the
know.
question.
I don't know
How do
if
I
you
see
really
them?
understand. I'm gonna post it on here. I don't
That's
know if
my
you can
brother.
see it.
That's my brother. That's my brother.
Oh, okay. So she said it has to be alleged, not a charge. So I don't know what that meant. And then she said you have to get a lawyer. And I know you answered this earlier, saying that you have to stop fighting. So I guess my question to you is, why, if you did wanted to fight this, what were some of the things that you had to do? Because you made the decision not to fight because it was going to affect the rest of your family, right? Correct.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So if
So
you did wanted to fight, what would be, how would you fight this?
you'd have to go and petition the court to stop the injunction. Number one, and then if I remember correctly, once you do that, she gets notice, and then she gets to decide whether she wants to try to fight it to keep the injunction on, or whether she wants to agree with it or whatnot. So once you get past that part, then you know, I don't I can't really tell you because she'd have to either agree with it or fight to keep it on. So I don't know what happens if she says, "Hey, I want to keep it on," and you have to
And
prove that
then
Yeah,
there's
you
reason.
you guys will proceed with the trial or whatever the hearing, right? And so
Right,
to get a lawyer, we even our own attorney let us know that these lifetime orders are very tedious, very expensive, right? So you can't fight it alone. Like I
right.
think that's what she's trying to
and
say.
did you have a
But
lawyer?
I did not for that one. Again, that was the first time I'd been to court. So for that particular one, I did not have a lawyer. But when it came to the other kids, I got legal aid. That's definitely something I hope that everybody can take with them. Whoever's listening is that I try to let everybody know. A lot of guys think that guys cannot use the government. They can't get legal aid. They can't get help. You can get help. I don't know about every state, but in Florida, you can use legal aid. I didn't have the money then, and I opted to I filed for legal aid. They gave me a lawyer, and she turned out to be a blessing in disguise. She so with the two girls, my two daughters, eventually their mom started stuff, and we had to go to court for them, and that's when I got the lawyer. And the lawyer not only fought for me with my two girls, and then I got 50-50 custody with them. But when I got done, I didn't tell her about my my other case with my sons, and she said, "Oh, you didn't tell me about this case, but I can fight this case for you too." And I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Yeah, I can do it for you too." And this was all for free, so I didn't pay any money. And she fought both cases and got me 50-50 custody for both cases. So I was overjoyed. Yes, it was a hard road. It was a hurtful road with my one daughter. But again, I think if there's any takeaway for anybody listening who has more than one kid for this whole thing, is that having to be a a parent nonstop when you have other kids you have to be a rock for, it actually made it that much easier because again, I could have let, like I heard the gentleman earlier, I could have let myself go into depression and break down and whatnot and then hurt everybody. But I realized, no, I have other kids that I have to take care of. So, I hate that it came down to that, but I had to make sure my other girls were taken care of in the meanwhile. And I don't know if Spoken Truth is still on here, but he made a post one time and he said it probably perfectly the way I would say it to everybody else. And he said, I'm gonna try to use the exact words he said, but he said that if you have more than one kid and one of the moms decides to give you a difficult time and you pull back from that particular kid and get out of their life, well, you really shouldn't have that much weight on your shoulders because when that kid gets older and they see that you took care of all the other kids from any other mom that they have, they're gonna have to look and wonder, well, why didn't he take care of me? And it's going to become pretty obvious that your mom was the one that was stopping him because everybody else he had no problem taking care of, and he did what he could do to take care of them. So there's got to be a reason that he wasn't able to take care of you. So if I ever do get a chance to run back into my daughter, then that's what I hope she would understand that you know she has sisters and brothers, and I never stopped taking care of them. And had it been a situation where I could take care of her, then she would have been right here with the rest of us. But it didn't work out that
It
way.
didn't work out that way. Well, before we let you go, I just want to say, what would you have to say to the people that will mainly mostly be women, right? That you seem like an unlucky guy. Like, why are these more than one woman giving you such a hard time with their children? Like, what, why do you think that is? Is that just bad luck or, because they always say pick better, choose better. Of course, no one knows that somebody's going to decide one given day, hey, I don't want my child with you. But just given this short period of time that you gave a background about uh domestic violence and a lifetime order, people will judge you, of course, and tend to think that you're violent and they kept their kids away from you for protection and this and that. What do you have to say in regards to that?
Well, for me myself, hey, my kids are 25, 24, uh, 17, about to be 16. I mean, my kids are grown. I got, like you guys know, my daughter was a Marine. I mean, I've raised them. I did what I had to do. So, but yeah, you know what? That's a good question because what I will say is to any father, mother, whoever the case may be, don't be bogged down by what other people think because you are gonna, at the end of the day, your kids are the only people that you need to worry about being a stand-up person for, because like you just said, people are going to make their own assumptions. People are going to, uh slander you, they're going to talk about you. But I've always took everything and use everything as lessons. So for my kids, I want them, and I've always wanted them to understand that there's nobody that can, you know, make your life go in any direction other than yourself. So, I've never took heart to people talking bad or talking down or whatever the case may be. But more than anything else, I've been blessed because people already see. If forget the women, if you see me, you see my kids, and you see what I do for my kids. So once you see that I'm, what I do with my kids, for my kids, and whatnot, then you realize that that's what I'm all about. And then last, my two boys, yeah, we got, me and their mom got divorced. We went through that. I got 50-50 custody, but we got back together, and we've been together for 20 years. So I mean, I've been so I've been with her ever since. So it doesn't matter what anybody says. You guys should, especially the dads. You got kids. Things happen. Get out there, fight for your kids, follow through, get an attorney, because this court is crazy and you will lose your way real fast. And more importantly than that, court takes time. If you mess up one order doing stuff pro se, you're gonna have a lot more time that you have to wait to fight back again. So I mean,
Good
that's
advice.
basically, yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Let the people know where they can follow your handle, whether it's TikTok, IG, because you drop a lot of good gems and even some funny stuff. W3 got some good content um in regards to this. So yeah, let them know where they can follow you and stuff.
All right, so W3 TV family on every handle. I think it's W3 TV 2 on TikTok, WTV W3 TV Family 3 on Instagram. Um, and yep, I make all kinds of content for um, guys and just responsible parents going through family court. And other than that, I follow Who's Deadbeat wherever they're at. I usually try to be at, whether it's going to be on YouTube now or TikTok. Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. You probably find me in the comments or up there with them, one way or the other.
Yep, they're gonna see a lot of you.
Yep.
Thank you, brother. Thank
I
you
All
so
right,
much.
appreciate you,
anytime,
man.
y'all. All right,
Mm-hmm.
Have a good night.
you
All
too,
right.
guys.
We're gonna end it right now, but spoken truth, man. Join tomorrow. We should be on tomorrow, man. We're gonna rock out all week. But make sure y'all we here. We're gonna try to be here every day at 8 Central Time. Make sure y'all follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Who's the Deadbeat?
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook at Who's the Deadbeat, and make sure y'all subscribe, man. If y'all not subscribing, make sure y'all subscribe. We just getting started. But man, just stay tuned, man. We got a lot to come. We currently working on our non for profit. It's going we gonna be moving, man. We're gonna be out on these streets. So just make sure y'all just follow all those pages just to keep up, man, to see what's going on. And y'all take care of those kids. Stop all that fighting.
Peace.